You're listening to Podcast PXN,
a video game podcast
delivering player experience news.
Let's go!
Water levels don't suck, and welcome to Podcast PXN episode 136. I am one of your hosts, your favorite Portland Mexican Christian Macias, and I'm joined over Discord by Kentucky's number 3 Spartan. I knocked you down 2 pegs. I don't know why. I just decided. I'm just rolling with it.
Who's the 1 and 2?
It's me and Ro. Yeah, aka Dan is DTM, the Nintendo aficionado and Faye Valentine's boyfriend.
Ro. I wish.
Mm-hmm. And one half of the Man Engaged podcast, Mr. Handsome himself, Gage Dempster, aka at Gilbo Biggins. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Doing great. I'm excited to talk video games, and I'm excited about my new placement in the Spartan rankings. Didn't know that happened, but I'll take it.
I should apologize to Dan. Sorry for I just started the show, and I'm
it's already started.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll take it back.
You should never apologize to Dan. You should never apologize. It's totally fine. He'll be fine.
If Keurig
I'm doing a lot better after that intro. That's quite the intro I got this week. I don't know what I did to deserve that.
Love you, boo.
I'm gonna ride this high for a little while.
Folks, thank you to everyone watching us live and participating in the chat. Just as a friendly reminder, we are live each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Just search Podcast PXN. You can do the same on twitch.tv/podcastpxn and on Twitter as well, of course, on our profile. The topic of the show this week is Ubisold, future of Ubisoft. But first, the show always starts with the quick bites, so let's go ahead and jump right in with some snacks. I did something different today. Normally in quick bites, I organize things from least to most recent. This time I actually did smaller news to bigger news. That way, at the end, it kind of gradually rolls us over on the topic of the show. We'll see how it goes today.
Nice.
So our smaller stuff, Fortnite, got some new skins coming for you. Wu-Tang skins are coming to Fortnite, so let's enter the Battle Royale. I don't know. Also, Sakura and Blanca from Street Fighter are also coming as skins, so get those while you can and use Podcast PXN creator code. That's a lie. We're not on.
Is that I was like, well, cool.
You would know.
I don't know. Yeah. No idea.
Support your favorite creator and get those skins if you wish. Okay. We got a PlayStation tier update for those that are planning on picking up the new subscription service. The rollout dates have seemingly been reported, or actually have been reported. For North America, it's June 13th. So that matters for us, and I'll just say the other ones just for posterity. Asian markets, you can start seeing that rollout May 23rd. Japan, June 1st. Europe, June 22nd. And again, America's June 13th.
Yeah. I just want to say right here, we made a mistake, Christian, because I made a mistake. I bought 3 years of PlayStation Now to kind of loophole it or whatever, but they announced today that actually if you have PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, they will take your longer of the 2 subscriptions and just apply that as the premium tier. So I basically just bought 2 extra years for no reason from PlayStation Now because I already had PS Plus until then. So
wait, I'm sorry. Explain this one more. Explain this I'm dumb.
So, for instance, if I had PlayStation Plus for 3 years from now, and I have PlayStation Now only for 1 year from now, you get the new premium tier for 3 years from now. So, or 2 years from now, whatever I just said for PlayStation Plus. So it covers the longer one of the 2. So,
that's nice. So you overspend.
I did.
Yeah, same gauge. Yeah, I only bought the 1 year. I don't know what that means for me. I guess I'll find out on June 13th.
Yeah.
I think the joke's on both of you. It's probably not worth it at all. So.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw in something here for a second as well.
We're gonna throw it in.
Yeah, I threw it in. But first, before we get to that one, some more PlayStation news. This comes from the PS blog. VRR, yes, variable refresh rate support for PS5 is rolling out this week. Some highlights on games you can use right now with VRR. Astro's Playroom, some of the Call of Duty games, I think the more recent ones, Black Ops, Destiny 2, Miles Morales, Resident Evil Village, Ratchet & Clank, and much, much more. If you want to see the full list, head on over to the PS blog to check that out. And if you try it out, let us know what you think. I don't know why I'm talking like this. VR sport, yeah, very cool stuff. I can't wait to try it out. Yeah. Okay, here's the stuff that I added just now. I don't know. This happened last week. We were talking about the Sonic Origins, right, and how confusing their chart was for ordering different versions, right? Yep. And having all these things like which version gives you what games. Trek to Yomi did something very cute that we missed last week, which is they put out the same chart saying here's what you can expect for which version of the game you buy, and no matter what you buy, it gives you everything. So the chart is just everything checked, which is
that's awesome.
Very cool marketing from Devolver.
Nice. I did not see this. That's awesome.
I love cheeky stuff like that because it's like a non-toxic way to poke fun. Like famously, the one I think of is the Dying Light 1. That was the era of all the Monsters and Rockstar energy drinks, and they had their drink water sort of slogan or whatever, where it's like they had their promotional where it's like every glass of water you drink, XYZ happens, and I like stuff like that.
Nice. I've never seen that one, so. It sounds funny though.
It's something similar like this. It's just poking fun, right? But it was like instead of popping a tab of Rockstar and getting a code, it was like drink a glass of water, and in Dying Light 1 you get X,
Y, okay. Z. I get it. That's funny.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Funny. You guys hear that?
Oh.
Yes, this is Miyamoto dialing in with bad news. The Mario movie has been delayed till spring 2023. In North America, that's getting a release date of April 7th, 2013. So you got to wait a bit longer to see Chris Pratt's Mario in action.
Or perhaps good news.
That was Chris Pratt's Mario.
Oh man, I love how Miyamoto addressed us in that tweet, though.
What a tweet! What a way to start a tweet. Weird. Nintendo America saying this is Miyamoto.
just to confirm. I mean, we wouldn't have known if he didn't do that. So
that's true. Yeah.
Oh man. Hope we get more tweets from him in the future, and he always introduces himself like that.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on, this comes from Kotaku. Nintendo of America contractors feel like second-class workers. I threw this into Quick Bites just because we kind of covered some of this stuff last week, and we got bigger stuff. No, I don't want to say bigger stuff, but we got a lot of news to cover this week that I wanted to throw into Quick Bites, and I'm sure we'll have stuff to say. But there's this article from Kotaku like really highlights how terrible some of the Nintendo American workers have felt. This is in the Seattle area, and they're being paid significantly less than their partners that are in the city proper. And then there's an instance of a worker who was fired for bringing up unionization during a meeting, and just overall, you want to call it like unhappiness, just not feeling like part of the team, just because they aren't. Because they feel like second-class workers, right? These contractors just don't feel like full-time or whatever you want to call it. So sucks to see. Again, even in our favorite companies like Nintendo, the people we think of as like wholesome, this kind of stuff happens in the game industry all the time as well. So
I think that's a wider issue around the industry with contractors too. Like there's so many, contractors that feel undervalued and underappreciated, and they get signed on to do like a 3-month thing, and then after that they're just like, all right, see it. Like yeah,
right.
Add to like a personal anecdote, there was a tweet I saw maybe last week that said like any profession that has a blank appreciation day is like kind of undervalued. Like any job that requires an appreciation day just shows that we don't respect these kinds of professions enough. Today was admin day, and I'm an admin at my job. I got one email from someone saying they needed something done. And at the end of that message, it was like, "Oh, by the way, happy admin day." And I was like, "Well, it's nice.
Nice.
I feel so valued here at this company."
Oh man.
Okay. Moving on to some hopefully better news. This comes from Activision. I saw Gage tweet about this as well, so I'm sure he's got some thoughts. The Modern Warfare sequel that's coming out this year to be the most, quote, most advanced experience in franchise history, unquote. Take that subjective quote, however you will. The new free-to-play Warzone will be revealed later this year. Can't wait for that. And then the new engine, quote unquote, is built from the ground up. I know Gage has issues with this because he explained on a previous podcast, those aren't usually legit built bottom to top brand new.
Right.
They're just reworkings of previous engines. So, like Gage predicted, or was saying that this is most likely going to be a reworking from the 2019 engine.
For sure. A good way to put it is like saying that it's like if Christian was hosting this week and he's like, "All right, I've built the dock from the ground up." Like, no, you got rid of all the old stuff and you put in the new stuff, but the format's the same. The skeleton was there for you. And that's all it is. And it's not even like it's a huge ethical issue. It's just it's one of those things. Like Dan and I are probably the most easily bothered by it of the four of us, but it's just another thing that games journalism does is like just giving. It's Call of Duty. Like, why do they give them these free brownie points where it's like, I saw, after this was announced, I saw GameSpot, IGN, Game Informer, all these people with the headlines, brand new engine for, it's like, but it's not. And if the person writing this probably knows it's not, like, I don't understand. So it's a small thing. It just bugs the crap out of me because it's like, no, it's the same engine. And it really bugged me with Cold War because Cold War obviously was pushed up a year and they were forced to use the old like engine that they had been using for like 20 years, and they were like, "Oh, but it's a brand new engine."
Yeah, it's almost misleading. Or misinformation.
For sure, absolutely, yeah. It's bordering on that line, right? It's definitely tiptoeing that line.
Gonna be very curious to see how Warzone, the new one, shakes out. Especially with all the Activision takeovers, and I don't know. I'm like, of all the battle royales, I'm most curious to see how Warzone evolves, just because that one is like. Still one of the biggest ones. I mean, Fortnite is bigger, no doubt, but like Warzone, arguably top 3 battle royales.
For sure. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, it's also interesting too because it's like Fortnite has kind of positioned itself in this really good spot where it's like it's got this multiverse sort of multimedia thing going on for it, where it's like when Fortnite says it's going to evolve and it's going to change, you can kind of really it's an open field. They can do that, but it's like when Warzone says it's going to be a whole new experience. Like, what does that mean? I mean, they're not going to add building to it, obviously, right? So I'm kind of curious to see what their whole new
Godzilla versus Kong.
No, yeah, from like 2 years ago, dude. Okay, sure, I guess.
Yeah,
no one's thinking about Godzilla versus Kong anymore.
Yeah, I know. I love how late, like the lag on that sort of tie-in event. Have they even announced the next one? Or they're like in the off season, right? Like they haven't even. There's not like a new Godzilla or Kong coming out within the next year, is there?
That was just released like this week, last week.
What, the event or the movie?
Oh, I'm sorry, the movie. I don't know what's going on with the movies. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were saying that the tie-in was like super late to the party.
That is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then but it's not even like there's a new Godzilla and Kong coming out, so it's like why it's not even like it's in between, right? It's just like totally out of nowhere. Yeah, no, I don't know what they're gonna do with that. It's weird, but it's just unnecessary fluff to sort of try and hype your product up, and unfortunately, lots of people will buy it who don't know how this stuff works. And I do love lots of games do this, but I love when the newest entry is the most advanced in the franchise because it'd be kind of weird if it wasn't. I hope so. It'd be kind of weird if it had less features than the one before it.
Oh my god!
Sorry, Battlefield. Looking at you.
Yeah. Oh well, good point. Good point. I don't think they ever claimed that in their defense. To be fair.
I'm gonna apologize again. I have more Sony news, but don't worry. In our news proper, we have some legit Microsoft news. Okay. Sony requiring devs to offer timed game trials for PS Plus premium subscribers for games that cost more than $34. I want to iterate real quick how arbitrary of a number that is. That is so weird. Just why is that the cutoff? Anyway, according to game dev sources, some highlights. The demo must be 2 hours long. The devs have 3 months time to offer a timed trial. And the change is not retroactive, so it's only for games moving forward. And there was an update that came out today. Sony's own PS Store will be in charge of creating these 2-hour trials, and it's not the actual devs. So maybe some good news, right? Like onus isn't on the devs to actually like spend development time having to worry about making a demo. So
that's good. Sorry, yeah. When I saw this story earlier this week, I was kind of worried that like actual teams would have to worry about making this demo if their game just so happened to be above the $34 price point and taking that time out of actually making the game and Yeah, but I think this is a good thing though. It sucks that it's tied behind the premium thing.
Yes.
So that's a little bit of a bummer. I think demos should just be available to everybody. But the article did say that I guess that's why the PlayStation Store is going to be taking up the 2-hour dev stuff, because the actual PlayStation or the actual game developers can make their own demo if they want to, is what the PlayStation Store said. So if they do want to make a demo available and make it free for everybody, they can, but PlayStation is going to make that 2-hour trial for those more expensive games, I guess, which I think is good, but I just wish it wasn't tied behind the premium slot.
Agreed.
And realistically, this is the only way they could do that, because this seems like something really small, like just demos. But if you really sit back and think of the magnitude of a shitstorm, if Sony was like, "Hey, you all need to make a 2-hour demo for us, and you have to take your own dev time or your own dev time out of it," that's every game on the store, including developers that have no business relations with Sony at all, and suddenly it's like you're getting a knock from like your internet service provider saying, "Hey, we need you to actually rewire your house real quick if you still want service from us." It's like, what? So, yeah, this is them. Sony doing it themselves is the only way they could ever make this mandatory. Otherwise, it would be a cataclysmic exodus of people leaving the platform, because that's just crazy for an outside business to come in and be like, "Hey, you have your game on our platform. Aside from that, we don't talk to each other at all. You need to do something now for us, and it's mandatory." So that would have been crazy. So yeah, it's good that the Sony people are doing it. It's also the only way, if they wanted this 2-hour mandatory trial, it's the only way it could have happened.
Yeah, for me, I don't see necessarily the 2-hour trial being an issue, like being offered to the premium people, because EA does this with EA Access, for instance. They give 10-hour trials or whatever. For me, I feel like the biggest issue, so to speak, is more so so these 2-hour trials are required by the developers, which we've learned Sony's actually making, but this is a perk for PlayStation Plus. So what are the developers getting back from this? I think a lot of the discussion that I've seen online is should developers get some sort of compensation for subscriptions to PlayStation Plus, because these 2-hour trials from their games are being advertised as a perk, so to speak, for PlayStation Plus, which I don't know. That's tricky.
Dan, you're a better person than I am, because I was very selfish and was thinking about, this is great for me personally, because now we're getting demos that seem to be, hopefully have some kind of curation, because they're built from a dedicated team rather than just devs. To saving time, maybe would resort in just we'll just do a 2-hour slice here and then we'll call it good and we'll ship it. That is not something I've thought about. What is the incentive? If it is behind this paywall, right? And it will be. Are devs getting anything in return for these kinds of things and for these extra costs? The answer is probably not, sadly.
Right.
But yeah. That's a great question to posit. I like it. I got some bad news here, and I saved the good news for last in Quick Bites. So, just hold out, okay? One more bad news.
We're almost there. Okay.
We're almost there. Yeah. Okay.
We're almost through.
Get comfy. This comes from Bloomberg. Twitch is considering changes to its partner program. This is not finalized. This is just what they've been discussing currently. They are planning having incentives for more ads, perceivably for big streamers like Hassan or Shroud, right? The incentive when they do new contracts is to run more ads or do more kinds of things there. Again, this kind of leads to the onus there, or not the onus, I guess the burden is on the viewer. And will incentivize more subs to get rid of all the ads. There's discussions of a new revenue split for partners. So moving from a 70-30 split, where partners would get 70% cut, Twitch would get 30, will be now 50-50. Of course, that's less money for partners. New tier systems. This I didn't find out any more information about. I think it's for sub-tier systems, but I'm not quite sure. And then so the only good news here, is that there's no more exclusivity. So you don't have to only be a Twitch streamer if you are a partner, which is really good. And then you could see these kinds of changes if they end up going this route as soon as this summer. I think this sucks. It mostly
100%.
sucks.
Yeah,
This is like glutton. This is what like gluttonous capitalism looks like, right? Because Twitch, when it started out, it's like this was the answer to literally what they're doing now. This was a creator first platform you could come to, and I remember when they started doing. I'm not on Twitch much. I don't know what they're called, but I guess is it the subs that you pay? Like you give them like $5 subs or whatever.
Sub is that.
Okay,
so
I
you give them
remember when that
$4.99
first came out, and it was kind of like, oh, cool, look at that. This is a direct form of payment that you can give to. Twitch has always been super pro creator until it gets big, and this happens again and again with these companies until they get really big and they get advertising deals and so on and so forth. And it's crazy to think about. Like if you think about YouTube, I mean, we're all in the same age group where it's like YouTube 2006 to YouTube 2020 is completely different platform, right? And not always for the worse, sometimes for the better, right? Like, obviously some moderation is nice, but like just absolutely raking you over the coals, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah. Unfortunately, the only way this will change is that and the cycle repeats itself, another alternative comes up. And gains, and it'll gain traction because it'll be a creator first. Don't worry, we're not like them until it gets super popular, and then we'll just keep going down this fucking rabbit hole.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, obviously, I don't like this news either. It's more ads for viewers, less money for streamers, and just like a bunch of bad news. I like that there's not exclusivity, like you said. And kind of piggybacking off of what Gage said, do you think another streaming platform could be successful? Like, I don't know if anybody can compete with Twitch, even with this bad look. I don't know if enough people will be able to, or will be willing to jump ship onto a newer platform. Like, I know people make the switch from YouTube to Twitch or vice versa. I think about Mixer, how that one was around for a pretty good time, and I think they were pretty creator focus for a while too, and then they just had to bite the bullet and cave into Twitch. But I mean, someone else could definitely do that formula better, but it's just hard for me to imagine that now.
And you're totally right, Ro. Like, that company was originally called Beam, and it was a creator first platform, and Microsoft purchased them, and they were kind of continuing that lineage, but they never really took off at all. And that was with Microsoft's millions of dollars they were putting into it, like getting Ninja as exclusive and Shroud and all these people. Like, I don't know, the only one that I could see maybe stealing people away is YouTube, like you were referencing, because
that won't happen,
established,
sadly.
Yeah.
They have some great features, but like other than that, like they just don't care enough about streaming.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
The answer. Gage, please.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Christian. Go ahead.
Mine is quick. The answer is yes. Like something will replace Twitch. It's just a matter of time. Like things always get replaced. It's just we just don't know when. And more to your point, which is what I think you're getting at, is like it's not happening anytime soon. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I was exactly what I was about to say. But also, I'd like to add, more importantly, absolutely, I do think it's possible. I mean, if you look at things like TikTok, which is an absolute phenomenon. First of all, it was musically first, and then it died. It literally died, came back, had its resurgence, came back to life. But TikTok / musically did not exist 7 years ago, and now it's fucking everywhere. So absolutely, these things can crop up out of nowhere. But even if they couldn't, this is almost like a war propaganda. We can't let Twitch know that. You know what I mean? Like, it does nobody any good for all of us to say, like, oh, there's no alternative. You know what I mean? Like, can anyone really crop up? It's like, whether or not that's true, it's kind of like the Ukraine situation where it's like people were spreading these really cool, like, stories about, this grandiose performance from certain Ukraine fighters, or like the ghost of Kiev and all that stuff, and people were like, "It's unconfirmed. It's not true." It's like, doesn't matter. Let's just say it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's hope and pray that something does sort of come in and at least nudge them to sort of, light a fire under their ass to maybe change some things. So that's the thing. It's like, I'm not necessarily wishing for Twitch to die. I want Twitch to just be fair to its creators. So even if that means something else comes along, starts gaining momentum, and then Twitch, okay, well, actually, what? Never mind. It's fine. Then it's like, okay, cool. Well, then it served its purpose. The free market has served its purpose for what it's supposed to do. Like, yeah. So hopefully that does happen. And I think it is totally possible. I agree with you, Christian.
Great response. Before we move on, I just want to say, because speaking of TikTok, if you're listening to the show and you have a TikTok account, please screen record you opening up the app completely fresh and spending 5 seconds going through the first 10 videos on your For You page and send that over to Podcast PXN. I'm very curious.
Okay. We want to know what your For You page looks like. Yes.
Yeah. Because we did
except for you, Glenn.
Internally.
Don't send that, Glenn.
And Christian asked us all to do that, and I said, being the old man I was like, what do you mean by FYP? I don't know what that is.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
We have fun here at PXN. And speaking of fun, Disney fans can have some fun with Disney Dreamlight Valley, a new game announced. This is a life sim game with Disney Pixar IP. This is coming to consoles and PC. Early access is indeed coming later this year, and a free-to-play launch is expected sometime in 2023. There's a trailer. I forgot to link the trailer here in the doc, so I'm sorry, but look up Disney Dreamlight Valley and you'll see the trailer, which looks like just a very cute, described as like a Stardew Valley-esque, but with Disney properties. So that sounds like your kind of game. Go for it.
The thing that I thought was interesting is it's being made by Gameloft, which they used to be a huge like mobile game developer. Like they made all kinds of like car racing games, shooters, all kinds of stuff. So that's
the Asphalt series, I believe, which is the biggest.
Speaking of Asphalt, and this has nothing to do with Asphalt, because I did buy PS Now, and I was going through the list of games, and I was in the racing section for a minute. You guys remember Split Second?
Yes. Disney.
What a game.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Or wait, was that the Disney one? I always get that confused.
Was Disney Blur?
Yeah, there's Blur and Split Second. I think Split
Blur
Second
was the
arcade
Disney one.
Yeah.
So Blur is also another sleeper gem. That's the one where everything looked realistic, like Need for Speed, but it played like Mario Kart, where you'd pick up like power-ups and boosts.
Yes.
Blur was awesome.
Cool games. Games are cool. Anyway, we have one quick section here before we move into news of the week, and that is our street meet. We're down the street here in the alley. We got some details from Bethesda Games, possible details I should say, because these are not confirmed, but some kind of scuttlebutt has been going on from some respected kind of members online. This is some stuff on Elder Scrolls 6. No dragons. However, the Elder Scrolls 6 is in full development, but it is still in its early stages, with a target release of sometime 2025 to 2026.
Wow, those are years.
Yeah. We'll see. Wow. We'll see if they hit. We'll see if they hit. Bethesda Austin and Bethesda Montreal are working on Spy Team. A Mando MMO is in the works at ZeniMax Online. A Quake reboot is in talks. So shout out to you 30-year-olds. Dan?
I'm literally 30, Christian. I'm not...
In his 30s.
And then the Elder Scrolls and Fallout remasters are in discussions as well via In Exile. So I almost said Glenn. Gage. First of all, sorry. I almost called you Glenn. Second, did you see any kind of like more news on this? Because I know you were talking about this, but I couldn't find anything.
A lot to go on. It was just kind of like this account that I'm not familiar with had posted a thread, like I think it was only 3 tweets, and the information you have here and a little bit more, but you got the big points. He just sort of tweeted this list. He's like, hey, this is what I've heard. I'm not confirming this. I just heard this. And normally that would be dismissed, but I'm very much, I like to stay on the insider sort of in that area. Like I'm in the Reddit of the gaming leaks and all that stuff. And it's interesting to me. I really like that stuff. So this tweet on its own is not worth talking about at all, but it was the fact that this guy tweeted it, and some of the insiders that I followed, people that have really good track records, like Special Nick and Okami and Tom Henderson. A lot of these people just started quote tweeting this guy, and they're like, "We weren't going to say anything, but we've actually heard the same thing, like the exact same thing from our sources. So while it's not anywhere near confirmed, and especially a lot of this stuff can change, like a bunch of people who don't talk to each other and don't follow each other that have been credible in the past were like, oh, we've all like heard this exact same thing. So it's very clearly true to, at least as of right now, these are the plans in place. So I thought it was interesting. The biggest thing for me is that the Elder Scrolls 6 is in full development. It is not in pre-production. They're not writing it. They're not planning it. It's in full development. That is exciting because it's
I would hope, right? It's been a little while since the announcement.
Oh, for sure. We didn't know what the scale of Starfield is. Obviously, it's their next big AAA game, but it's like, would this be the first game where they would do live service content or like add things to it? But it's nice to know that they are sticking to their sort of almost like a Naughty Dog style formula where it's like, no, we go in, we make a full game, we leave a small team on afterwards to add some stuff, and then we just go right to the next thing. So this is just confirmation of that. It's exciting. Yeah, and is Spy Team, is this a legacy franchise? Because I'm seeing a lot of people hyping that up, but it's like I don't see anything online. Is this like an old game that they're redoing or remaking? Do you guys know anything about this?
I have no clue.
I have never heard of Spy Team. Yeah.
No.
Okay, so I'm guessing. What am I thinking of? This
Spy
old
Hunter.
like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Is it like a GameCube era game? Okay,
Spy Hunter. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. Okay, right.
I'm only going to call it the
is?
GameCube from now on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's. I mean, it's just exciting.
Wow.
I think my most fascinating piece of this was the Elder Scrolls and Fallout remasters coming from In Exile because, of course, In Exile's head, Brian Fargo, was the head of Interplay back in the day, who made the Fallout games back in the day, like the tactics-based ones. So it's pretty cool that it kind of would come full circle at that point.
Right.
Very cool.
I would just like to. I want to say something. I want to humble myself in the podcast.
Okay.
Even though I think I do a good job of telling people not to do certain, like, live your own life, do what you want, X, Y, Z. I just want to point out, I give Nintendo fans a lot of shit. Again, I don't give you guys directly shit. I just shit on Nintendo. Make your own choice. That doesn't bother me. But I would like to point out that I have that exact same Stockholm syndrome with Bethesda. I am the same as all you Nintendo guys, but for Bethesda. Every time we're like a year out from a new Bethesda game, suddenly it's a feeling in my bones. It's like my arm starts to itch and I got these track marks to start popping up and it's like I'm ready for the next. And then the game comes out and I'm like, this is good, but it's like it's good. That's it. But then and then over time the hype fades and then for sudden next time the next Bethesda game is announced, like I'm already excited for the Elder Scrolls 6, the only Elder Scrolls game I've played is Skyrim. Why am I excited? I don't know.
And speaking of the next Bethesda game, Gage, I have one quick thing in quick bites that I almost forgot about. Starfield, the latest Into the Starfield episode 3, The Sound of Adventure, posted yesterday, and it's all about the music and sounds of Starfield. There's also some concept art. It's looking good, man. I don't want to be a believer.
Looking real fucking good.
I don't want to be a believer in this. I want to just set very low expectations. That here I am being like, no, this sci-fi content from Bethesda kind of hitting a little bit. Kind of hitting.
I agree. Game of the year, 10 out of 10.
I wonder why.
We're gonna get there. Actually, let's get there now. I'm putting this in now. We're gonna shift before we get into news of the week. We're gonna throw in our quick fantasy critic draft check-in. Sadly, everyone, Switch Sports reviews have gone out today, and it's looking like it's it's fine. It's good. I've also learned, however, that Wii Sports also released to very similar reception, which is around the 70s, and that is one of the best games of all time. And now, hold on, Am I expecting the Switch Sports to be one of the best games of all time? Absolutely not. However, am I for sure it's going to be like a great party game when people come over to my place and we're sipping on some beer and having some like delivery food, right? Or when I'm hanging out with my friends online and I'm like, dude, let's play a few rounds of Switch Sport. I still play Mario Golf, everyone. And Mario Golf, like people hated that game. It's one of the most fun Mario Online games I've ever freaking played. So am I looking forward to Switch Sports? Yes. Sadly, my Critic League isn't doing so well. Dan, congratulations on winning this year.
Whoa, that's not congrats. Hey, God of War still is probably going to get delayed. There's a lot of stuff still to happen, Christian.
And speaking of Street Meat as well, I saw a tweet, someone saying that there's a leak that God of War is coming in September. Yeah, freaking right, buddy. Yeah, freaking right.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a guy who actually works at Santa Monica who was like an animator, I think it was, or I don't remember who
He's
it was.
lead
But
animator. I believe him.
and he was
Yeah.
like, "It's coming this year," and it was like, "Oh, really?" But should you be saying that? But yeah, maybe it's coming.
I believe it's coming this year. September is, I don't know. For some reason, September is like September and January are the months where it's like no AAA game, first party AAA game will ever launch in those months. So
Resident
immediately
Evil?
when somebody says that, I'm like, no.
Resident Evil.
Are they? I mean, yes, they are technically AAA. I feel like they flirt with that line between AA and AAA, but Halo's never launching in January. The Last of Us Part 3 is never coming out in September. I don't think so. I think those 2 months. I think those 2 months is not a thing.
Resident Evil Village, Gage, that was a freaking amazing game.
It's a fantastic game. I don't know. I think if we were to analyze it on a technical level, I don't know if it quite. I don't know.
That's for another episode.
It's tough. They flirt with it. Yes. Yeah, that's fair.
Only 3 points for me so far for Switch Sports. Let's hope it doesn't go down any further. You know?
My
You
fingers
got
are
3 points or you lost 3 points?
I'm getting
Counter
3
pick?
points.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Some future release dates for games to look forward to for Fantasy Critic check-in. Quick to Yomi for me, that comes out May 5th. Mario Strikers Battle League on June 10th for Ro. And then Cuphead Delicious Last Course DLC, June 30th. That's for me. So stay tuned, everyone.
I would like to remind the audience that my first game is just
What is yours?
2022. It's saying that it's Stray early 2022, but we're almost halfway through 2022, so that's clearly not true.
Ooh, is Stray gonna come out?
We're running into
That's a
trouble,
good
boys.
question.
We're sweating over here a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. It's getting a little tense over here. I might not have any games that come out this year.
I'm gonna wager it does. I don't see why it wouldn't. I think
I think so.
yeah.
The only one I'm concerned about really is Redfall, but I still think if it gets pushed back from summer, it's probably October. There's just a branding vampire game coming out near Halloween is just kind of like a given. But we'll see. I might end this season with 7 points, which is the 7 I have currently.
Gage, I just want to point out that you have 2 games tied with Ro for most counter picks in our league here. After I counterpicked your Sons of the Forest.
Repeat that again. Sorry, what do I have?
You and Ro, you both have 2 counter picks against you. So Sons of the Forest and Hogwarts Legacy. And Ro has Sonic Frontiers
Oh, I see what you're saying.
and TMNT.
So I can tell you right now, Dan, that Sons of the Forest was a bad pick, my guy.
What if it doesn't come out this year?
I also count.
Okay, so in that point, yes, that point's good. If it doesn't come out this year, which is more than possible because End Night is like the least transparent company in the world. You only hear from them if the game's coming out or if it's delayed. So that is the only time you hear from them. So, but if the game does come out this year, you're fucked because that game is a huge cult classic, and I think it's got like I think I checked it because I was curious if it even was on OpenCritic. The first one has an 88, I think. So it's
I was
precedent's there, Dan.
I was banking on it being delayed.
My 2 counter picks are Gage's as well. Just want to throw that out there.
Yours is what?
Yeah, I know. He's got the Hogwarts Legacy counter pick.
Yeah.
And Redfall.
Which means and Redfall.
Yeah, more like midfall. Ooh, hopefully.
Oh, that hurt me more than it should.
Wait. Oh, never mind. Gage has 3 then. I missed Redfall.
Yeah.
So Gage. Oh no.
No. This counter pick because Redfall, Hogwarts Legacy, Sons of the Forest, 3 total. Yeah. Okay, yes. I see.
I missed Redfall. Thank you, Christian.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, let's move on over to our meat and potatoes, not street meat. Our PXN news of the week. We've got 3 items here. Okay, let's start with the first. This comes from Kotaku. I'm sorry. I meant to. Yeah, this is pasted. I just forgot to delete it. We have 2 items. I'm sorry. 2 items in news before we actually get into tots. Forgive me. This is Miyamoto. Forgive me. Our first is a very, very positive Xbox story. Xbox is selling big time. March 2022 set an all-time record as the biggest March ever for Xbox sales in the US, up 48.1% year over year. Some more details here. It is the highest March result ever for Xbox in both units and in dollars. Highest hardware revenue for any console in 2022. Yes, outselling PS5, outselling Switch. For comparison, the Switch is down 25% year over year, while PlayStation, is down 35%. So that is insane for those two to be down while Xbox is positive. Very big congrats to Microsoft. Another comparison here: PS5 shortages in 2022 are even worse than they were last year. So here we are on Xbox side, selling these consoles, having no problem getting these in stores. I mean, some problems, but like it's relatively more easy to find an Xbox Series X, way easier, in fact, than it is to find a PS5 out anywhere in the wild. So, congrats.
Insane.
Yeah,
I think where. Oh, go ahead.
Go for it, Kish.
Okay, sorry. I think that's where the Xbox really benefits from having Microsoft as the parent company, because not only do they have the money to sort of like when there is a chip shortage and these factories that produce these semiconductors and all that stuff start sort of deciding who gets what. Obviously, you have Microsoft, who's a huge giant corporation that can, throw a lot more money at Sony, but the precedent's there, right? I mean, Microsoft is a company that makes computers and builds is in servers and all this stuff, and it has this sort of familiarity with that side of things, where it's like Sony is much more known for film and TVs and stereo equipment and audio and it's just, I could see how Xbox would have the natural advantage in this field, where it's like, oh, there's a constraint on a precious resource you need to make consoles. Obviously, Microsoft is going to have an easier time getting that stuff. So while I do celebrate Xbox getting some big sales, it does suck that every time Xbox get these milestone sales, there's always a caveat of, well, actually PlayStation was suffering really bad and there's not a lot of PlayStations. But yeah, no, I mean, it's good news. It's good news. Xbox is very pro-consumer nowadays, and love to see that.
My asterisk to this is actually a question. Maybe if anyone has any insight. Supposedly, from what I've read, and this isn't substantiated, I think it's more speculation more than anything, is that because Microsoft is such a tech giant, they're able to get priority with chip factories so that they are able to produce more, just because they're producing way more stuff. And so now, because they're also producing Xboxes, they're able to get their hands on these chips ahead of other people. Again, this is just speculation. I'm not sure. So if I were to throw any kind of asterisk there to this, it would be that. But
yes, that's the intelligent version of what I tried to say. That is exactly, that's a much better way of putting it. Absolutely, that is true. Okay. That is absolutely true.
It's very plausible to me that would make sense. And there were rumblings about AMD working closely with Microsoft in terms of their parts of the input. Obviously they have the graphics card on both next gen consoles, so it would not surprise me that they get priority because of all their other business.
Yeah, if it works, I guess if it's working. Yeah,
I'm really hoping that soon we can get better stock of all these systems. Like as you were all saying, that Xbox is doing some great things in the industry with their consumer-friendly moves and Game Pass and all that stuff. So it's great to see them succeeding on the hardware front too, and just getting those ideas into more people's hands. But it'd be great to get that PS5 in more people's hands too. I'm sure Switch is. I'm not sure why Switch is down. That's weird, unless they're having a similar issue.
It's chip shortages.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just can't wait until these systems are easy to purchase from all fronts. But yeah, it is good to see Xbox taking a W for sure.
On a personal note, I've been looking into getting a 4K player because the PS5 that I bought is the digital version, which may be an L on my behalf because I was able I was in the PS store right when these things were I got the invite right pre-launch, so I could have bought the disc version at the time. I didn't. I kind of regret that. So now what I'm looking at is either buying a 4K player or from what I've heard from friends is like just buy an Xbox. You'll spend a bit more, but you'll be able to play 4K movies. And you'll be able to use that for Game Pass, and that can leave my PC for PC specific games and not just Xbox PC games. So I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, Series S, great little form factor too.
If I'm gonna do it, I might as well go big, Dan. I might as well get the Series X.
Well, also, if you're doing it for the Blu-ray player, the Series S does not have one. I don't think.
Yes, it does. It does.
It should. Yeah,
it actually has. I think it has the exact same one that the Series X does. Because actually,
really,
the Xbox, because the Xbox One S even had it, the revised one.
I could have sworn that was the whole catch, is that the Series S is the smaller, like same with the PS5. It's the discless version.
Yeah.
Oh,
wait!
I was totally operating.
Yeah, it doesn't have a.
No,
you can't put disc in it at all.
Forget everything I just said. Xbox One S. I'm confusing.
Not the Series S. Yeah,
I told Sean this one. I told Sean this wouldn't happen. That I wouldn't be confused by the fucking names, and I'm confused. Yes, you're right. Sorry,
Grandpa Dan's getting all the consoles mixed up.
You're right.
Then I got confused as well. My friends were telling me to get the One S, not the Series S.
The One S is a 4K Blu-ray player. Yes. So yeah,
but not 4K.
Yes. Wait. Yeah, it is.
How does that make sense? That doesn't make any sense.
Is it 4K? I don't remember.
First of all, Phil, I'm gonna look at you directly in the camera. Phil, this is exactly what we're fucking talking about. Just stick to the code names next time. All right? Call them Anaconda, call them Purple
Scorpio.
Kush 47, whatever. Stop with the series. Stop. Phil, stop.
Yes, it is a 4K Blu-ray player. I was correct.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow.
Yes. The Xbox One S, One X, and Series X. Sorry.
Does anyone know what the newest iPhone is? Just off the top.
The newest iPhone?
13 Pro Max. That's what I got.
This guy knows. Of course, this guy knows.
That's what I've got. We get new ones.
Okay.
We get new ones every year, so
that's pretty nice.
My work pays for them. So
must be nice to be rich, right, Ro?
My work pays for them. I could not afford them to do that every year.
Yeah. Okay.
Must be nice.
Dan, when we finally eat the rich, we're coming straight to your house first.
Straight to Dan. I'm gonna throw this in anyway. On another personal note, there's rumors. There's reports of Joe Biden probably canceling student debt. If that happens, what am I going to do? Of course, I'm going to be a good consumer, like the good capitalist I am, and spend money in celebration. What am I going to get? I'm thinking about getting this like rifle stock for my Oculus Touch controller, so I can play Pavlov VR. Spoilers for I guess what you got.
Oh, is that the one with like the magnets where you can sort of clip it?
Yeah,
like it comes on and off, and you need to reload. Yeah, that thing looks fucking cool. That looks so unnecessary, but so cool.
I hope that happens for you, Christian, but we have heard that so many times.
I was going to say that headline has been on the news like for the past 2 years.
Hey, midterms around the corner. What better time than now? And speaking of now is the time to move to our second story of PXN News of the Week. This is our Games Preservation Corner, or GPC, as the gang like to call it. We got some good news and bad news here in the Games Preservation Corner. This first is from Sega. Sega is delisting Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, 3, and CD on May 20th. So if you want those and you don't want to buy Sonic Origins, do so now before May 20th. Some exceptions, however, Sonic 1 and 2 will remain available in Sega Ages on Switch if you want to go that route. Also, Sonic 2 will be playable via Genesis on Nintendo Switch Online Plus. So if you have that subscription, you can do so there. Also still available... these games will be available on iOS and Android. So it's not a total delisting. They're still available in other formats, but if you want to get them just on their own, those will be gone in just under a month. So this sucks to see. I hate when old stuff gets removed by the new stuff. Granted, there's a lot more nuance there with licenses. There's like on these versions, right? The Sega Origins, the new one might have original soundtrack, and I'm not sure if the ones in Sega Ages did. Like, there's maybe some discrepancy there. I was tried searching it up, but I just got more confused the more I went down the rabbit hole, because not everyone is sure. Because specifically on Sega 3, because Michael Jackson worked on the music in that, it's just not very clear. And I tried, I'm sorry, but otherwise, it just kind of sucks when stuff gets delisted.
Yeah, didn't they do something similar for the Grand Theft Auto trilogy?
Yes.
Recently,
Yes.
Did they put it back up afterwards, or did they?
Yes.
They did put it back right?
After it turned into a train wreck.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't think Sega's going to do that, but yeah, it does suck that this seems to be a trend when people release a bundle of some sorts or remasters, they get rid of the other accessibility or other ways to access the same game, so people purchase the new one. So I get the business side of it, but it does suck.
And like, I don't know, when we're thinking of game preservations, because like even Phil Spencer was talking about like how important it is, right? Like, would not the more obvious route be like when someone searches Sonic, have something in place where like the new one populates at the very top, like you're always going to get like the newest version of that, and then if you want the other ones, you have to scroll down a little bit. That would get rid of the problem altogether. You can still have the old ones there. I mean, I guess, if they are cheaper, people won't be buying the new product, which I get, but I mean, it still sucks.
Is this now this hypothetical where you're talking about searching for Sonic and having to scroll down? Are you talking about like on say like an Xbox platform or on a PlayStation?
Sure,
like
yeah.
On a console storefront? Yes. I don't know why neither of them have done this, but when you search Sonic, why doesn't it bring you to a Sonic page? These are the Sonic games. It's like a collection, right? You see Netflix starting to experiment with this, where it's like if you click on, especially if it's a Netflix franchise, if you click on something that has like say The Witcher, you click on The Witcher and it's got the main show, it's got the animated show. It'll say like The Witcher collection.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it'll show you that. And in that collection, you can immediately go to any other content. You can click on the main Witcher, the animated show. They have a behind the scenes series, and then you know what I mean. So it's like if you search Sonic, and if you just search just Sonic on PlayStation, it should bring you to like the first result should be like a Sonic collection, and it shows you all the Sonic titles available. Now, organize those from most recent to least, sure, but I feel like that's an easy way to stop the whole like, but what about consumers scrolling through stuff? It's like, well, just put everything in a group, right? That's why we have all these fancy new UIs, right? Is to make things easier and faster. So
no one wants to spend resources.
I'm surprised that neither of them have done that.
There is some good news though. This comes from PlayStation, more specifically from GamesIndustry.biz. An article about PlayStation. PlayStation is setting up a new game preservation team, hiring a new senior build engineer to take charge. Former EA and Kabam engineer Garrett Fredley is among the first hires for the department. And I have a question here. When will we get classic game downloads with PS Plus subscriptions? Hopefully that takes precedent. If not, the very idea of a games preservation team elates me, because that is just something very cool. And I like to see big companies like PlayStation taking initiative on doing stuff like this. Hopefully others follow suit. Looking at you, Sega.
Yeah, this is really cool for a big company like PlayStation to actually be taking games preservation seriously and setting up a team is pretty good news. So hopefully, like you said, that starts a trend of good changes to come, like the downloads, and hopefully they are not all the changes are going to be behind the PlayStation Premium stuff. Maybe there'll be some games preservation some good games preservation outcomes that are available to all customers and not just PlayStation Plus owners and stuff like that. So yeah, that's definitely something that's exciting for sure, that they're taking that seriously.
Yeah, like that's a really that's a really great point, Ro, because like, people who bought digital content on PlayStation 3, for instance, there's literally no way to play that on your PS5. Like,
yes, I know.
It's like, so that is a great point, Ro. Like, and Christian, you said as well, like, I want to see like this preservation team, build these emulators that actually natively play these games on the local consoles. So like people in the same situation as Xbox, where people who own Xbox 360 content can download the content and just play it on their Xbox. I would love to see that for PS3 digital content as well.
Bro, first of all, I would agree with you that this needs to be like more accessible to people, be like not just behind the paywall. But I guarantee you, if you did put this behind the paywall, like I mean, of course, like it is right. PS Now is behind paywall, PS Plus extra premium, whatever. Like those are behind paywalls. But if they prioritize game preservation and let people play not just a collection of all the games, right? But then hopefully, eventually we're able to download them. That would totally drive people towards that subscription service because people do want to play old games, even if they are old. Just the fact that they're there and available because you've had them or never played them and want to have them. Huge driving force.
Definitely. Yeah, it's something that I don't want to happen, but I totally it's a good incentive to get somebody to give that a shot for sure. Just like the demos earlier. Like I don't want it behind that paywall, but it sure does make me want to get PlayStation Premium, even though I wish it wasn't tied behind that. So yeah, either way I'm excited for what this new team has to offer.
Before we get into topic of the show, before we get into what you got for me, we have an announcement here at PXN. We're introducing a brand new monthly segment. Yes, you heard that correctly. A brand new monthly segment. The best blanks of all time, the best games, the best things, the best characters, etc., etc. Whatever we want that theme to be, it will be. Starting with next month, in May, we are going to be deciding the best open world game of all time. This may get a bit confusing, so stick with me on the calendars here for us, for posterity. I wrote down our important dates to remember. Today, this is the announcement. We're going to explain the rules for the best open world game of all time on PXN. On May 18th, what is that, 2 weeks from now? 3 weeks from now. 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Yeah. The PXN crew, that is us, we will announce our individual picks. We will each bring 4 possible picks for the best open world game of all time. Then, on the following days, that Friday through Monday, we will be putting individual polls on the PXN Twitter. So one day will be my poll. These are the 4 games that I chose. Which one do you think is the best open world game of all time? I have a cramp in the bottom of my foot.
Oh no.
I haven't drinking enough water today.
You need
followed by, what's up?
You need to hire a massage therapist during the show.
Come through. And then Dan's poll gets posted and then Gage's and Rose. Not in that order, but each day everyone gets their own specific poll. This all culminates on Tuesday, the day before show day, Tuesday, May 24th. We will have the finals poll. The winner from each individual poll will then go head to head against each other. This poll should theoretically end during PXN recording. That way we can all live react to see which game is winning or will win that day. So on Wednesday, May 25th, we'll have a live discussion of what game won and what game we thought should have won if it didn't, and discuss the overall results. A lot of dates to remember, but just overall in May, and the final weeks of May, we'll be deciding the best open world game together.
It'll be Homefront: The Revolution, probably.
Whoa.
Fallout 76.
Why would you pull that game? Why would you pull Homefront: The Revolution? What a game to pull.
You know
That's what I'm saying. That was as good as my Aloha reference. Like that was the fucking.
Arguably
that was great.
Good. Yeah,
that was great.
Before our poll starts,
I would say Homefront: The Revolution is the Aloha of video games.
Okay. Sure.
Before our poll starts, Sonic Frontiers is going to release, and then it's going to be the greatest open world game of all time, right?
Well, here's a question. I mean, there's no point like having an official. We don't have a fucking website. There's no point of having an official rules section. But I mean, to argue that something is the greatest game of all time, should we have like a sort of dead zone where it's like to avoid the Phantom Menace syndrome of a game just coming out? Like, should a game that releases so soon, should Sonic Frontiers be allowed? Because we're all susceptible to that as human beings, to go see something for the first time or to play a game for the first time. Be like, oh, it's fucking amazing. You play it the second or third time, you're like, oh, well, actually, it's a question. I don't know.
I'm with you in theory. However, I want to throw an Elden Ring into the discussion because I do think it is that good.
Well, that's the thing. Well, I mean, what is it? February to May, March, April, May. So we're all 3 months. I mean, that's I was thinking to say like within 2 months you can't. That's where mine went. Is just a 2-month deadline, which would mean that Elden Ring is eligible.
Yeah, I'd say you've had enough times to see the cracks if there are any, or like,
and there are.
Yeah. So I think you're good for at least for Elden Ring. But yeah, I see what Gage
Right.
is saying for sure.
I would say it's kind of a personal discretion type of thing too. Like, would you, there's certain games that you play and you're like, man, this game is just unbelievable. And like Red Dead Redemption, for instance.
I was bringing the same thing.
Yeah, like there's obviously, I think everyone's gonna, have a different take on it necessarily, but I don't know.
For sure.
Keep that energy though, because I do want, like, if I do bring a game that like maybe shouldn't be on there, like I would hope you guys would be like, should that be on there though? Like keep me in check, keep us in check.
Yeah.
So there you have it. This is a message to us on the Discord. May 18th, have your games ready. Bring a few extras in case there's duplicates, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll say I'm really happy with how this turned out. I really like, because we were all discussing, off air last week, sort of workshopping this idea. Well, let me say that three of us were discussing it. One of us was orbiting the moon. But no, it was. I'm really happy with how this turned out. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited about this. This is a good. I like the final rules. I like how this is all gonna work. This is good. I really like the idea of we all find out together at the same time.
Yeah.
And the idea of this, if I'm not mistaken from last we spoke, is that this is Podcast PXN's best open world game of all time. That is the point of whittling down all of our things, right? So that we can slap the Podcast PXN sort of official stamp on it. Like, this is what we've all decided. Mm-hmm. So it's fun. It's going to be exciting. And it's also a way for people watching to contribute and sort of have a little bit of input.
Yeah,
I mean, for a channel like us that has such a small audience, you're going to have more input than you think, right? So it's exciting. It's very fun.
One vote could change everything.
One vote could change everything. One vote could be the only vote.
And like we talked about last week also, like that, I think this is fascinating. Like the game that gets picked from your list may not even be the game that you would pick yourself, but then like you're going to go back for it. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. And we'll work out the kinks as we test it out. So stick with it. For sure. Stick with it. Okay, let's go into what you got for me. Dan.
Hello. I've continued my addiction, I guess you can call it, to my old park sim fascination as a child. Jurassic World Evolution. I've continued to play that, and I actually finished the campaign. I finally unlocked the final island, which the final island, it's crazy, is Isla Nublar, which if anyone likes Jurassic Park is one of the most iconic islands in Jurassic Park. But once you unlock that island, they're just like, all right, here's all the money. Literally, you get an unlimited budget. You can spend whatever you want to build just the park of your dreams. And I was just like, I was in heaven building it. I'm just like, yes, this is it.
Is it like therapeutic for you to play this?
It is. Relaxing? It really is. Like it's a game I can just shut my brain off and just enjoy it. Like I love it. And so then I finished the campaign on there, and so I was like, all right, I don't really need to play the other modes because the second one's out, and I had bought it already. So I was like, I'm going to start the second one. I started the second one and played the first tutorial mission, and it is very, very different than the first game. I'm like, I'm still confused as to what's going on. So we'll see how long I last with the second one, but yeah, I'm diving into it. It's a lot more complex. They have a lot more things going on in the sequel, so we'll see.
Cool. I'm still confused as to whether or not the Series S has a disk drive or not. Did we come to a conclusion on that?
No, I think it's digital only.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so stupid. I have one too.
That wasn't even a bit too. I genuinely don't even know anymore. It's ridiculous.
I don't even know what day it is. Bro, what you got for me?
I have been playing, you guessed it, Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Wow.
I completely finished it now. Well, not completely finished it. I have not 100% of the game. So it is something that I am contemplating because I was enjoying it a lot. But I finally beat the boss rush thing that I was talking about last week. And I beat the final boss. And holy heck, that was surprisingly hard. It was surprisingly challenging. And there was a lot of phases for this boss that it just kept going just kept going, and I finally beat it. So I was surprised by that, and that's usually a Kirby thing where the final boss is like super crazy and weird, and you're not expecting it in this cutesy world. But I guess you do come to expect it if you play a lot of Kirby games. But yeah, it was really cool. I enjoyed that a lot, and that's it. That's all I've been playing. This week, I'm going to try and go back to Ace Attorney and Spiritfarer from like 2 years ago, but I never finished that. But I really enjoyed my time with Spiritfarer, so I'm hoping to complete that game along with Ace Attorney pretty soon. Yeah.
I would love it if no more games released the rest of the year, and we just like got to work on our backlogs. I would love it.
So much there. There's so much there. Oh god.
And don't shake your head. Yeah, in agreement. Like, you want to play Starfield. We just talked about this minutes ago.
Yes, but my backlog is gigantic.
Yeah. Okay. I've been playing, like I said earlier, Pavlov VR. It is freaking. The reload animations alone make that game like so much fun. It is like realistic reloading. So if you got a revolver, you gotta get the barrel out, dump the bullets out, the casings. Put in new casings, do that. There are different ways you can reload the sawed-off shotgun, right? The different way you can close it. You can close it like clean, right? Or you can risk, just doing the snap. If I messed up the snap and my casings fell out and I couldn't shoot someone, so I died. And it's been crazy, dude. Like, again, this is through Steam, so they have like Steam Workshop. So I'm like, yesterday I was playing One in the Chamber from Black Ops, but on a Minecraft map. There are tons of like zombies games. I downloaded the Modern Warfare map so I can play on Vacant. And all these game modes like TDM, Search and Destroy. They've got Battlefield game modes like it's push instead of rush.
Oh,
on these huge maps with like more players. TTT, Terrorist Town. It's been fun, dude. And I'm getting more friends to play with me. So hooking up my Oculus to my PC has been the best thing I've ever done.
It's amazing, man. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so freaking good. And I bought a new game just a few hours ago. A new game just released today, Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition. So I've never played Stanley Parable. Very excited to check that out. And then picking up Switch Sports. Walmart delayed my order. Why did I order from Walmart, you're asking? Because it came with a hydro flask. I'll be receiving that on Monday.
Nice.
Stay hydrated.
Yes, thank you. Gage. Oh, sorry, Ro.
No, it's okay. Never mind.
Oh, cool.
I was going to ask if Christian had played a Ring Fit Adventure.
No, should I?
No, just
Everyone
curious.
talks about it.
Yeah. I was. That's why I wanted to know, because everybody talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, sorry.
It's so fun. Gage.
Whose turn? Is it actually my turn? Okay, I didn't know whose turn. Okay, I thought I interrupted Ro. I thought it was Ro's turn, but I see that he was just adding a comment. I have not been playing a whole lot of anything. I think the most, if I had to pick something, I think I played Halo Infinite with Dan on the weekend. Maybe did that happen?
I think it did. Yeah, it did.
All right, full disclosure, podcast gang and the people watching. I am running on maybe 6 hours sleep the past 3 nights. I don't know why. I've been extremely restless. I've been barely hanging in there.
6 hours total?
6 hours total of 3 nights.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
Yes. No, not 6 hours a night. That's
Beautiful.
Easy. No. Beautiful. 6 hours total. One fully sleepless night, and then another one 3 hours, another 3. Anyways, I'm delirious. I'm barely hanging in there. I think I played Halo with Dan this weekend. If I didn't, I haven't played anything. If I did, I played Halo with Dan, and it was probably infuriating because I'm super rusty, and I put that game down for like a month and a half.
No,
and I haven't played it at all.
You're forgetting, Gage. You said that Halo Infinite's the greatest game of all time. Your mind's foggy still.
Definitely that's the thing. You sure you don't mean Splitgate?
Oh no!
Oh,
here
you
we
did it
go
for
again.
me. I should play that game again. That's a cool game.
Christian.
Gage wrote Pain in the doc, by the way, and not to be mistaken with the PS3 2007 game by the same name, Pain, which was like a game where you launch yourself into various maps, trying to cause the most damage as possible to rack up your score point, just like in Burnout. And I had it. Yes, I did have it.
You guys remember Kitten Cannon?
No. Wait, yeah, the like Flash game?
The Flash game, the browser game.
Yeah,
That's what you just described. That's what that sounded like to me.
Yeah, not too dissimilar. Anyway, Gage, let's hurry up and end this show. So let's move on over into TOTS. We are, of course, looking at the future of Ubisoft. There's a lot here. I've got 2 news items and then just some kind of speculation, discussion questions for us. And we can mix and match and throw in whatever is necessary, whenever. So, however, let's just start with the first news story from Kotaku. Private equities are eyeing Ubisoft as the next big gaming acquisition. Bloomberg is reporting that Blackstone and KKR & Co., the 2 biggest private equity firms in the world, have been studying the French business and have preliminary takeover interest in Ubisoft, but that the company hasn't yet entered into any serious negotiations with potential acquirers. So is this actually going to happen? Well, let's find out. If someone did want to buy Ubisoft, they would potentially be getting it at a huge discount. The stock was over $110 a share in July 2018. Now it's at $41, so a substantial drop for over 100%, right? Is that how that works? More than half. But they would still need to go through the Guillemot family, which is currently estimated to own 15% of the just under $5 billion market cap business. Will the Guillemot family sell? Well, again, let's find out. CEO Yves Guillemot famously fended off a hostile takeover attempt by French media conglomerate Vivendi after securing funding from Tencent and others in 2018, but some sources currently and formerly within the company now believe the 35-year video game industry veteran might be looking for an exit strategy. Some more mentioned factors here on speculation as to whether or not they will sell, or whether or not the Guillemot family is looking to get out of Ubisoft. Some factors include ongoing workplace controversy. Not very controversial, in my opinion, what's going on over there. Senior devs leaving, and then big projects struggling to find footing. And that leads me into kind of these first 2 discussion questions, which I wrote. What does a takeover look like? And will a Guillemot exodus change company culture? The answer is yes. Immediately, yes. That would totally change. Why? We'll get into in a second. But if this takeover does actually happen, or right? Do you think it'll be enough to win back public trust after numerous work complaints, as well as the court's backlash? What will the future of Ubisoft look like? What will this reshaping look like? And we can go anywhere here.
Hopefully some different type of games. Like it seems like recent years in particular, a lot of their, as we've talked about many times before, a lot of their games follow a very similar formula, like open world, capture these towers, and once you capture these towers, you have waypoints on your map that populate, and then you go to those waypoints and do these things, and that's it. That's the game. So I definitely would like to see, more creativity and more unique games coming from Ubisoft again. And hopefully a buyout would bring someone else at the forefront that would kind of lead the, I guess, developers to say, hey, you guys do what you want to do. Let's just see some creative stuff going on. I don't know.
Okay, so I have a question for you, because we have to think about this as like business people taking over this company.
True.
There are still plenty of projects in the pipeline at some of these studios, right? Like, some of the stuff is in pre-production, or some of the stuff is like in early production, right? Like these games are happening, and canceling all of them altogether, like that wouldn't work, right? I don't think you'd agree. That's not what you're saying either, but
no, yeah, I wouldn't.
Will you let some of these like go through the pipeline that are like seemingly going to make you some money, and then just start introducing other stuff as like amending that, or?
Yeah, I think it's something they're gonna have to look at on a case by case basis too, because like there's some games that I feel like they could go in and say like, yeah, let's cancel these games because they're just not looking good right now.
Skull and Bones.
Yeah, like maybe that game.
Wait, which game?
Skull and Bones.
Oh yeah, okay.
I mean, it's not like we have any insider information or anything, but I would maybe look at some games and say, hey, this doesn't look the greatest. Let's maybe, take our loss on that and focus on things that people really want, like Splinter Cell. Now, please.
And Splinter Cell was recently announced, right? There will be a new Splinter Cell game coming, but as we talked about, like it may seem like they announced it like way too early because of backlash, and that they don't actually have anything like substantial to actually back up any kind of production on that. So,
yeah, like how do they win back public trust? Is I just have to agree with Dan here. Is just make games that people are okay with playing and like enjoy playing, and that aren't doing these weird things like NFT quartz and not making the same game over and over and not copying your competition to a T, that you're just releasing the same game but worse. It's just like Hyperscape. Like that's like, why did you make that? And why did you abandon it so soon after release? Like they make some really weird decisions. And I think I mentioned it last week or a couple weeks before, where they have these awesome franchises in their repertoire, like Splinter Cell, like you just mentioned, Dan. Rayman, yes, they got Rayman. They've got Child of Light, which they're never going to touch that again. But but my point with Child of Light is that they do have those creative people at the company to make those awesome ideas, but they're just making battle royales or another open world shooter that they just plaster Tom Clancy's name, or just like something that already exists, but they make it open world and somehow boring than whatever it was before they slapped it into the open world format. So I'm not saying that open world can't be fun, because our first top thing for our new introduction or new section that we made up is our favorite open world games. So we have some fun open world games that we enjoy playing, but the ones that Ubisoft seem to make are just very by the numbers, not exciting in the past couple of years. But I look at companies like Capcom, where they were like not doing so hot for a couple of years, and they turned it around and just made some awesome games in the last couple of years. And I'm sure Ubisoft can do that if they just steer themselves in the right direction and don't. I feel like they think they're playing into the industry trends, but they're just. I don't know what they're doing over there. They're just not picking up the right hats, and they're just, I don't know. Yeah. It's upsetting because they have a lot of cool stuff over there, and I'm sure they have talented people working there. It's just that they're just picking up the wrong projects, it seems.
Bro, if I said, you remember X Defiant? Do you remember what that game was? Okay, you remember?
I mean, I think I could guess, but it's a shooter. It's like a first-person battle royale shooter, right? Maybe it's not a battle royale.
Not a battle royale. It's like a Call of Duty. Like 5v5.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah. I wished I didn't remember that.
Oh, I played it under NDA. I don't give a fuck though anymore.
Oh my god! You can't do this.
No,
don't come get
take the mic from him.
It's bad. It's extremely bad.
He's joking.
He's joking,
Ubi. He loved it. He didn't play it.
Blacklist me, Ubisoft. Please keep me from playing your games. Somebody's got to.
His name.
I uninstalled Valhalla, by the way. I played it for. I was gonna bring it up last week, but I forgot. I was trying to find something, and I was like, this map design sucks. I can't find what I want. I was like, fuck it. I'll just go to another thing. Oh yeah, there's 8 million other things. Fuck it. I'm done with this. And I uninstalled it. I'm over it.
Amazing.
I like Valhalla.
I will say there are a lot of open world Ubisoft games that I did enjoy. Like I like The Division. I don't think that's as widely praised. I liked it, but I don't think everybody liked it.
I liked The Division.
Yeah, it was good. I liked
to the contrary, I think The Division is one of the better ones because it was an innovation. It had Snowdrop engine. It had its own stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that's true.
I like Watch Dogs 2, but that's mainly because of the characters. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. They have something, but they just never. They very rarely lean into that something. If you know what I mean. Like, it's very rare that they hit the mark for me.
They go really halfway.
Well put. Very rarely do they lean into that. Yeah.
You know what I would do if I were in charge of Ubisoft? I said it like 2 weeks ago. I'll say it again. Bring back the 2008 reimagining of Prince of Persia. That game was supposed to be getting a sequel. Bring that back.
That was good.
I don't know what you do with the Prince of Persia remake. That just like said it's. Oh no, I think they said it was pushed until winter of 2023, right? Or no, it was supposed to be 2022, and we just haven't heard anything since. I don't even know anymore. I don't even know anymore. Speaking of weird games, though, a new Ubisoft game was unveiled yesterday, I think, codenamed Project Q. The game is in early development and is undergoing testing. It is not a battle royale, but it will feature a variety of PvP modes with one single goal in mind: fun.
I hope so.
That is hilarious marketing to me. That you have to say, no, we promise the game we're making is supposed to be fun. Like, I don't understand. Like, if we're at the point where like Ubisoft has to announce that their game is gonna be fun and not let it speak for itself. This is funny. I'm sorry. Additionally, there are currently no plans to add NFTs to the game. Hopefully, that remains that way. And if you are curious to play Project Q and maybe don't want to break NDA, you can register now for upcoming testing. Yeah. And I'm excited for Project Q.
What? How am I supposed to be excited, Christian? I got a logo, and it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
I need to know more. I mean, man.
This is the thing about Ubisoft for me. They just keep announcing project after project that, like, who wants this?
I don't even know if I don't want it yet because there's so little information.
There's so
I mean,
it's like maybe I do, but I don't know.
It's like they're just like, you know, when people like throw stuff at the wall and see if it sticks. This is what Ubisoft feels like they're doing right now. Outside of like their tentpole like Far Cry, Assassin's Creed games, like which seem like they are, you know, letting those games breathe by taking more time in development. The other stuff is just like, oh, hope this one works. I don't know.
The art style looks cool in this little screenshot, or not screenshot, but concept art we got. But other than that, yeah, what do we have to look forward to here?
The art style reminds me of a recent battle royale that was announced. I don't know if it was like a wrestling battle royale. It had a really cutesy, cartoony art style like this too. I don't know if it ever came out though. I'll see if I could find the name of it while we're talking. But yeah, I don't know.
They had like a trial thing, like a demo as part of like E3 week or something, Summer
I think
Games
so.
Week, something, and then yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I think I might have found it. Rumbleverse, is that it?
Yes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is what I'm thinking of. Yeah, and it looks like it did come out. I think.
I want everyone to wager bets while Ro looks this up. Does Project Q last longer than Hyperscape? Yes or no?
No. Wait.
Wow.
Are you saying in terms of the game being like out or
yes?
Oh, okay. I might say yes to that, but I don't know. But no, in terms of like it won't be it won't be popular, if that makes sense.
I'll say no for both. I don't think it'll be supported longer than Hyperscape.
I don't know. Like, how are you worse than Hyperscape?
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody is able to do it, it's Ubisoft, I guess, at this point. So,
because am I wrong, or wasn't Hyperscape announced as like a weird like technical test type game? It wasn't even like announced as like a fully fledged game. Am I right in that?
it was like integrated into Twitch, like a lot, like streaming stuff. Like if you watched a streamer play, you could drop items into the actual game, which I thought that was a cool idea.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But then it was like, I think it stayed in beta and it never got its full release. I don't think.
Gotcha.
I could be wrong on that, but yeah.
Is there anything else you would want to see from Ubisoft? Of course, we've talked about like taking a look at the portfolio of current projects and seeing that and seeing what other games we want to come. But I think a big one for me is changing just the work culture. I think more importantly than any of the games to me is like maintaining quality talent at all your studios and like getting rid of toxic workplace culture altogether. And that I think will then inform these kinds of like great games that we want to see from them. Then, of course, like, you know, the upper heads, like in charge of what games they think are going to make them the most money. And of course, we see them like the complete opposite. So, yeah, again, just the big one for me is culture.
Yeah, definitely. I think once you start there, I think the good games hopefully follow suit because you'll have good people leading the creative people, and hopefully that ends up in with a good product at the end of the day. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think what I want besides a good work culture for those people are just interesting games and not games that are copy and pasted over years and years. I feel like Assassin's Creed changed, but I don't know if people are okay with that change anymore. I feel like people are wanting the old Assassin's Creed back. Is that a weird
thing
to say?
When I go on TikTok and people every now and then I'll get videos on either on TikTok or on Twitter of Assassin's Creed parkour comparisons. And everyone in the comments is always talking about, I think it's Unity is the one in France.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is always talking about how they kind of miss Unity because it was they made one of the best parkour systems ever in the franchise, and then just abandoned it. Right?
Yeah,
that's funny that you bring that up, because when I was playing Valhalla, I was like, you don't need to parkour ever, except for when you're unlocking a viewpoint, which ironically again is another staple of every Ubisoft game. Climb up to the viewpoint, you unlock the map. You do not that game. You could remove parkour from Valhalla, and it would not fundamentally change the game at all, even a little bit. It's so funny how the core staples of the franchise are now just kind of add-ons, and they're just kept there because, well, it's Assassin's Creed. You have to be able to climb a shack really quick. Sorry to cut you off, Ro. Go ahead.
No, all that just to say that I don't think everything needs to be that open world format. I mean, I guess the old Assassin's Creed games were open world games, but I don't know. It just seems that they're losing what made those games in the past special to make them even more like everything else that they're making, instead of keeping what was special about Assassin's Creed special, and then making something else that can fit that mold but better, and just not putting it in everything that they're making. But yeah.
And to your credit, Christian and Gage, talking about the parkour in particular of Assassin's Creed, the parkour in Valhalla, getting down from things, I've noticed is very frustrating in Valhalla. And in Unity, it was great because they had specific buttons where you would go, decline or ascend. Yes. And Valhalla's climbing for mountains and stuff is awesome. I love that system. I would love it if they did a combination of the two. Can we get Unity's structure of how the up and down works in terms of how you climb up and down, and still have the newer elements of Valhalla where you can climb literally anything, mountains and stuff. That's super cool. I love that's probably my favorite part of Valhalla, is just climbing random mountains in the middle of nowhere. It's just really fun to do that. But also, I was cheating, and I looked ahead at your next thing, or your last thing, Christian, talking about the upcoming Ubi games. Assassin's Creed VR would be a perfect fit. I would be super interested.
Would you play? When we play VR, every time you're up high, we're up 6 feet and
Dan screaming. Leap of faith, Dan.
No,
it's gonna make you a leap of faith.
I'm not doing a leap of faith. That's not happening.
I promise you, it's in the tutorial. I'm
closing my eyes if that happens. But that would be super cool because, obviously, Christian, we've played together, rock climbing stuff, and that would be perfectly suited for that. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I threw that in as reference as well, but I think what would excite me as well, just to kind of close that conversation, just we talked at length about how open world fatigue only in Ubisoft is a thing. I would just more unique experiences like Assassin's Creed VR, but more linear experiences, right? I know we're getting Splinter Cell back. Get a really here are the levels for Splinter Cell. Here's a very cool narrative, a tight experience that doesn't need to be my life for 100 hours, and having those experiences. As well as, you can still keep Assassin's Creed and Far Cry open world. You can still have those, but having some variety, that again isn't trend following, would just go a long way.
I want to touch on something that Rashan said too, because you're criticizing the new Assassin's Creed games, and you're but I guess the old ones are open world too. But it's Ubisoft doesn't even have a variety in its open world, because many people forget, again, because we're so used to the new formula, but the old Assassin's Creed games used to emphasize and utilize the open world way more. You would build up your research, find out where the target was, and the target would be in this open fort, this open sandbox. And I remember in the trailers and just playing the games, because I played the old ones, especially Assassin's Creed 3. I love that game. You would sit there and you would study the pattern and you'd watch him walk around with his guards and you'd be like, oh, he's like, it made sense to be an open world game. Whereas now the new Assassin's Creed games is very much like, here's an open world. You can go and do anything like side story wise, but as soon as the main story comes, it's a set piece. It's taking you to this exact location and you're fighting a giant mythical wolf or some stupid nonsense. So it's like, even their open world games have become more closed and like claustrophobic. So it's not even so much of like, oh, make everything linear now because we don't like this. It's like, well, no, we'll go back to true open world, right? It's a lot. It's similar to the complaints that a lot of people have with Rockstar and its game design philosophy, right? Like, of how it can, ride to this location and you get there and it's like, okay, cool, the mission started. Now we're gonna ride to where we want you to for the mission to take place, and the mission starts, and then it'll give you like extra instructions, and it's like, if you don't do exactly what this instruction says, mission failed, start over, try again, right? And it's like, well, this is an open world game. So I think even in the games that Ubisoft has, and the franchises and the IPs where they need to stay open world, it's like, that's fine, but just, have some fluidity and sort of and bring that back where it's like, yeah, Assassin's Creed you're an assassin. It should be medieval Hitman. You're literally trying to assassinate somebody. Here's the target. Here's where he is. Here's the challenge. Figure it out, as opposed to grind and get to this gear level.
I mean, you made me realize how Hitman has become a better Assassin's Creed game than Assassin's Creed.
Because they're embracing, and shout out to IO. Hitman has had a resurgence because they've gone back and been like, what made this game great? Let's double down on that. If Hitman was a Ubisoft, 100% there'd be a gear score and you gotta have a level 3 silver baller to do. Like, it's just, no, Hitman did it absolutely right, and that is what Assassin's Creed should be. But instead of walking around slowly, methodically, you're scaling buildings, and like, I would love to see Assassin's Creed have a nice resurgence again with that classic game. It used to be. Also, we were mentioning before about all their stuff like Child of Light, Valiant Hearts. Like there's so many games that Ubisoft did that were so unique, and that same company does not exist anymore. It's just so heartbreaking.
Yeah, and you were looking for more linear stuff. Gage, Ghost Recon, linear. Do a linear one.
What do you mean, the new one?
No.
Ghost Recon
I'm saying
again.
Yes. Make it like the classic ones. Yep.
Absolutely. Advanced Warfighter 2. That's the best one they ever made, man.
Just let us know what you want out of the future of Ubisoft. And let us know if you think Ubisoft will be Ubisold in 2022. But until next time, thank you again to everyone joining us live over on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, as well as podcast services everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, and Stitcher. Thank you, Ro. Thank you, me. Thank you, Gage. And of course, big thank you to Daniel Emanuel. This has been Podcast PXN, and we are out.
Much love, and keep on gaming.
See ya.
Phil?
I don't have anything funny to say.